My phone buzzes. Then again. And again. A relentless vibration against my thigh as I walk through the crowded university hallway. I pull it out, already knowing, dread coiling low in my gut. Notifications explode across the screen. Tags, comments, shares. There it is, my report card. Last semester's disaster, F's glaring like accusations, plastered across every social media platform imaginable. Courtesy of my dear stepsister, Min, I stand frozen. The lukewarm coffee I just bought sours in my mouth, turning acidic. Around me, whispers ripple through the student body. Faces turn, some curious, some pitying, some openly smirking. I see their reflections in my phone screen, superimposed over the image of my failure. In my first life, this exact moment sent me fleeing, tears streaming, shame burning my cheeks hot enough to leave marks. I locked myself in my dorm for days, but this isn't my first life. 10 years. 10 years of memories crammed into this 18-year-old skull. 10 years of humiliation, poverty, and scrubbing toilets while Min climbed the corporate ladder built on my stolen ideas. 10 years culminating in a slip, a crack, and darkness. Before waking up right back here, at the beginning of the end. This time, I don't run. My hand doesn't even tremble as I slide the phone back into my pocket. The whispers fade into background noise. Let them look. Let them talk. Their judgment means nothing compared to what I remember, what I know is coming for them. The bitterness in my mouth isn't just the coffee anymore, it's the taste of resolve. This time will be different. I walk. Across the quad, the crunch of autumn leaves under my worn sneakers is strangely satisfying. Each step feels deliberate, grounding me in this second chance. The air smells crisp, of decaying foliage and impending winter, a stark contrast to the memory that surfaces unbidden. The sharp, acrid stink of industrial chemical cleaners. Bleach. Ammonia. The scent clung to my clothes, my hair, my skin in my previous life. I see it sometimes when I close my eyes too tight. The stark white gleam of the executive bathroom tiles in Min's company building. Her company, built on foundations I unknowingly provided. I remember scrubbing grout, my back aching, hands raw, while just outside the door, Min laughed on a call, discussing million-dollar deals, her voice echoing off the marble floors. She'd flaunted her success, oblivious or perhaps cruelly aware that the nameless cleaner polishing the porcelain throne was her stepsister, the one whose financial insights she'd passed off as her own years ago. The memory of that wet floor is slick beneath my feet even now. The sudden loss of balance, the sickening impact as my head connected with the edge of the toilet bowl. Not a dramatic fade to black, just a sharp final crack, and then nothing. Until I gasped awake in my dorm room bed, 18 again, the clock reading the morning of the day Min first posted my bad grades. The ghost of that impact sometimes makes my fingers tremble, a phantom pain behind my eyes. But the fear is gone, replaced by a cold clarity. The future isn't a dead end anymore. It's a blank canvas. And this time, I hold the brush. Vengeance will be my masterpiece. Dinner that night is a perfectly staged ambush, just like before. The air in the dining room feels thick, heavy with the cloying sweetness of Elena's expensive designer perfume. It always smells like lilies trying to cover up decay. She slides her sleek tablet across the polished mahogany table, her movements precise, calculated. My report card glows on the screen, magnified. "Really, May," she says, her voice dripping with false concern, that practiced disappointment she wields like a weapon. "Failing again? After everything we've done for you? All the opportunities?" Across from me, Min smirks into her wine glass. Her manicured nails, blood red tonight, tap rhythmically against the crystal stem. Tap, 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 a metronome counting down my humiliation. My father shifts in his seat, avoiding my gaze, studying the pattern on his dinner plate as if it holds the secrets of the universe. It's easier than facing his own complicity. The scene plays out exactly as I remember it from my first life. The suffocating perfume, the staged concern, Min's smugness, my father's cowardice. It's a painful déjà vu. But there's one crucial difference. This time, as I appear to fumble awkwardly with my chopsticks, dropping one with a clatter onto my plate, my other hand is busy beneath the table. My thumb finds the side button on my phone, nested discreetly in my lap. Click. The recording app activates silently. I nod meekly, murmuring apologies. I'm trying my best, I whisper, letting my shoulders slump. I just find these business courses so difficult. Elena sighs dramatically. Perhaps business isn't for you, dear. We need to be realistic. Min snickers softly. Maybe try something easier, like basket weaving? Their condescending words wash over me, fueling the fire inside. They have no idea. They think they're looking at the same weak, easily manipulated May. They don't know about the internship offer I received just yesterday, investment banking. Junior analyst, the kind of position Min dreams of. They don't know it's already changing everything. Let them talk. Let the recording capture every venomous syllable. Later, the click of the lock on my bedroom door is the sweetest sound. Privacy, sanctuary. I retrieve my hidden laptop from beneath a loose floorboard. A cheap, refurbished model bought with cash saved from tutoring jobs they don't know I have. They confiscated my main one after the disastrous grades last time, citing distractions. Little do they know, this humble machine is my command center. Fingers fly across the keyboard, the rhythmic clacking a counterpoint to the silence. First, upload the dinner recording to a secure, anonymous cloud account. Evidence logged. Then, the real work begins. I open my investment portfolio, not the paltry student account my father monitors, but the offshore one I set up using a VPN and knowledge gleaned from my past life. For 10 years before my death, I'd followed the markets obsessively, a desperate attempt to understand the world that had chewed me up and spat me out. I'd memorized patterns, cycles, the rise and fall of companies Min was involved with. Now that decade of hindsight is my arsenal. The blue light of the screen illuminates my face in the darkness. The numbers glow back, $57,348, earned through careful strategic trades over the past few months since my rebirth. It's not millions, not yet, but it's enough. Enough for the first phase. I initiate the buy order, a significant block of shares, in a small tech startup Min has been eyeing for her first major acquisition target at the company she interns for. Bought anonymously through shell corporations I learned how to create from studying financial crime reports in my previous life. A controlling interest. Would Min still look so smug at dinner if she knew her stepsister, the failing remedial student, now held the fate of her dream project in her hands? A slow smile spreads across my face. Just as I close the laptop, hiding it back in its dusty alcove, my phone pings. Not another social media notification, but a direct message. From Professor Zhang, head of the computer science department. Message. I reviewed your special project proposal. Meet me tomorrow. What you've discovered could change everything. My breath catches. The algorithm. The predictive financial model I built using future knowledge, submitted under the guise of theoretical research. He saw its potential. My heart pounds, a frantic drum against my ribs. Maybe revenge isn't the only thing this new life offers. Maybe, just maybe, there's redemption too. The campus coffee shop buzzes. The aroma of burnt sugar and stale espresso hangs in the air. I nurse my own bitter shot, watching Min across the room. She's holding court, naturally. Surrounded by her sorority sisters, their laughter too loud, their gestures too animated. Her expensive blonde highlights catch the weak morning light filtering through the large windows. She looks every bit the golden child, the effortless success. Nobody here knows the truth. Nobody knows that 3 years ago, she found my carefully crafted university admission essay saved on the family computer. An essay pouring out my passion for business, my dreams, my analysis of market trends even then. She stole it, submitted it as her own, got accepted into this prestigious business program while my application, suddenly lacking its core essay, was rejected. I had to defer for a year, scrambling to rewrite something, anything, that felt half as authentic. I ended up in general studies, clawing my way into business courses one prerequisite at a time. The bitterness of the espresso matches the memory. It wasn't the first time, or the last. In my first life after college, she'd found my diary. Not a diary of crushes and heartbreaks, but of meticulous market predictions, investment strategies I'd worked out, companies I thought were undervalued. She took those insights, presented them as her own brilliant analysis at her entry level job. That diary became the foundation of her meteoric rise, promotions, bonuses, the executive title. While I drifted, lost confidence, ended up cleaning her company's toilets. Now, watching her laugh, gesturing expansively as she probably recounts some exaggerated triumph, the old helplessness tries to claw its way back, but the determination pushes it down. The cinnamon scent from a nearby pastry display mixes strangely with the metallic tang of my resolve. I lift my phone casually, pretending to check the time. Click. A quick photo of Min and her sycophants. Time-stamped, geotagged, documentation. It might matter later. Everything matters now. Rain streaks down the tall windows of my father's downtown office. It feels like the city itself is weeping, mirroring the despair I'm meant to be feeling. I stand before his imposing oak desk, the plush carpet muffling my footsteps, making me feel small, insignificant, just like he wants me to feel. I need help with tuition, Dad, I say, keeping my voice even, respectful. The funds Mom left for my education. I know they're there. My biological mother. Dead 10 years now, killed in a car accident, Elena always implied was somehow her own fault. Her inheritance, managed by my father, was meant for me. He'd always found excuses. Your grades don't justify the investment, May, he replies, his voice flat, dismissive. He doesn't even look up from the glowing monitor displaying stock tickers. Same words, same tone as in my previous life when I'd begged for help after losing a dead-end job. The expensive leather of his executive chair creaks as he leans back slightly, steepling his fingers. A gesture of finality, of dismissal. My eyes drift to the family portrait prominently displayed on his desk. Him, Elena, and Min, beaming proudly at Min's high school graduation. I wasn't in the picture. I was in the hospital that day, recovering from a concussion and a broken wrist. Min had accidentally tripped me on the basement stairs a few days earlier. No one questioned her tearful apologies. His company letterhead sits neatly stacked beside his keyboard. Chen and Associates Consulting. My gaze snags on the faint watermark, the company logo, and the IT support email address printed at the bottom. I remember Elena complaining once years ago in my first life about how insecure their email system was, how easily it could be compromised. A detail filed away and forgotten until now. Phase 2 just got a potential entry point. The rain outside drums a steady rhythm against the glass, a soundtrack to my silent plotting. The kitchen in our house gleams. Marble countertops, stainless steel appliances, everything spotless, reflecting Elena's cold perfection. She stands at the island, chopping onions with terrifying precision, the knife blade flashing under the recessed lighting. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Each slice is identical, controlled, just like her manipulations. You know, May, she begins, her voice smooth, almost gentle, as she scrapes the diced onions into a neat pile. Perhaps this business degree, perhaps it's just not the right fit. It's okay to admit defeat. There's no shame in pursuing a more achievable path. Her knife taps lightly against the thick wooden cutting board. Tap, tap. That technical certificate program I mentioned? In medical billing? Steady work, less pressure. The sharp, stinging scent of the onions fills the air, but it can't mask the underlying contempt in her suggestion. Achievable, meaning something suited for someone like me. In my past life, I fell for this. Her constant undermining disguised as motherly concern. You're stressing yourself out, dear. Why not try something less demanding? Focus on finding a husband, May. That's more important for a girl like you. I switched majors 4 times based on her guidance. Communications, art history, sociology, library science, each one leading me further away from my initial business aspirations, leaving me with a patchwork education, unqualified for any decent career. This time, I offer a small, hesitant nod. Maybe you're right, Elena, I murmur, looking down at my hands. I'll think about it. Inside, my mind isn't thinking about medical billing. It's reviewing the complex string of numbers and holding companies I painstakingly pieced together in my final years of the first life, the offshore accounts. Accounts where Elena had been siphoning money from my father's company and undoubtedly from my mother's inheritance fund for years. Information that came too late then? Now, it's all meticulously documented in the locked digital journal I call my revenge ledger. Let her chop her onions. Let her think she's winning. Her precision won't save her when those accounts are frozen. May, look, I got it. Jen bounces on the balls of her feet in the middle of the crowded campus bookstore, waving a crisp envelope. Her usual infectious excitement feels grating today. It's the internship acceptance letter, Horizon Investments. The very position I coached her for, spending hours helping her polish her resume, running mock interviews, even sharing some of my carefully anonymized market analysis notes. Can you believe it? She squeals, grabbing my arm. They said my market analysis section was uniquely insightful and showed exceptional promise. That's thanks to you, May. You're the best. The harsh fluorescent lights overhead seem to amplify the falseness of her wide-eyed, innocent expression. Practiced. Perfected. I remember this Jen from my first life. The friend who leaned heavily on my insights, my notes, my connections. Who landed the coveted internship that should have been mine, using analysis I'd developed. Who then soared up the corporate ladder, conveniently forgetting my name when I desperately needed job references after being laid off. Who always prefaced her refusals with, "Oh, May, I'd love to help, but things are just so crazy right now." Now, surrounded by towering shelves of glossy business textbooks promising pathways to success, her oblivious smile reflects back at me from a nearby display case. I force a smile in return. Jen, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. I give her a quick, congratulatory hug. My hand brushes against the side pocket of her tote bag where her phone rests. A feather-light touch, long enough. The spyware app I coded, disguised as a silly cat photo-sharing tool she'd downloaded from a link I sent yesterday, finishes its silent transfer. From now on, every email, every text, every internal company memo she accesses will be forwarded directly to my encrypted server. Horizon Investments holds secrets, data, strategies, information she'll soon have access to. Information that, in the right hands, my hands, could be incredibly valuable or incredibly damaging. You totally deserve it, I say, pulling back, my smile feeling tight on my face. As we step out of the bookstore, blinking in the sudden afternoon sunlight, a sleek black sedan pulls up to the curb. The tinted window glides down. A man in an impeccably tailored suit leans slightly across the passenger seat, his eyes sharp, intelligent, locking directly onto mine. He doesn't even glance at Jen. Miss Maylin? His voice is calm, resonant, cultured. I've been looking for you. He opens the car door and steps out, extending a hand. He exudes an aura of quiet power. My name is Mr. Wei from Horizon Investments. We need to discuss the algorithm you developed. Jen's jaw drops. My heart gives a painful lurch, not entirely from fear this time. Horizon Investments, the company Jen just got accepted into. The company whose representative is here. For me? Things were accelerating faster than I'd planned. The university fundraising gala is a sea of shimmering fabrics, clinking champagne glasses and forced laughter. The air hums with ambition, thick with the scent of expensive perfume and truffle oil, wafting from circulating hors d'oeuvres trays. I walk in wearing a simple black dress I found at a secondhand store, feeling immediately out of place, a drab sparrow among peacocks. Eyes turn. Whispers follow me like static electricity. Then, Min's voice, deliberately pitched to carry across the opulent ballroom. My stepsister? Oh, May? A theatrical, pitying sigh. Bless her heart, she's trying. But she's barely passing her remedial courses. Some people just aren't cut out for higher education, you know? Laughter ripples through her cluster of friends, their diamonds catching the light from the enormous crystal chandeliers overhead. The light feels like ice, sharp and cold against my skin. I clutch my small, worn purse tighter. Inside, nestled between my cheap lipstick and a few tissues, sits a tiny USB drive. It contains my real academic transcript dean's list for the past 2 semesters, and, more importantly, the source code for the predictive financial algorithm Professor Jang was so interested in. The string quartet in the corner saws away at Vivaldi, the music feeling tight, strained, like a wire pulled taut across my nerves. Across the room, I spot them, my father and Elena deep in conversation with the university dean. Their expressions are appropriately solemn, concerned, no doubt discussing my learning difficulties and the burden I represent. Elena gestures subtly, her hand brushing the dean's arm in a confidential manner, probably suggesting a generous donation if certain problems, meaning me, could be quietly managed. Just breathe. Stick to the plan. Ah, Miss Lynn. May, isn't it? A man with kind eyes and slightly rumpled tweed jacket appears beside me, seemingly out of nowhere. Professor Davies, head of the technology department. His warmth is unexpected, disarming. Professor Jang mentioned your project. Quite fascinating work, he said. This is it. Time for my performance. I offer a shy, startled smile. Oh, Professor Davies, yes, that's me. As I turn fully towards him, I accidentally let my purse slip from my grasp. It hits the plush carpet with a soft thud, contents spilling lipstick rolling under a nearby table, tissues scattering, and the crucial USB drive skittering across the floor, landing conveniently near his polished shoe. Oh, clumsy me! I'm so sorry! I exclaim, cheeks flushing on cue as I bend down, gathering the scattered items with frantic, flustered movements. I deliberately leave the USB drive where it is. Min's mocking gaze feels like a physical weight pressing on my back. I know she's watching, probably relishing my public embarrassment. Professor Davies stoops to pick up the drive. Is this yours? Oh, that? I glance at it, waving a dismissive hand as I stuff the lipstick back into my purse. Yes, but it's nothing important, just some coding exercises I was working on. I murmur it shyly, avoiding his eyes, playing the part of the insecure student. He pockets the drive anyway. Well, perhaps I'll take a look sometime if you don't mind. Zhang seemed quite impressed. He gives me a reassuring nod. Thank you, Professor, I whisper, clutching my purse tightly now. Excuse me, I think I need some air. Heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird, I slip away towards the restrooms, my calm exterior a fragile shield. Inside the cool marble sanctuary of the ladies' room, I lean against the polished countertop, breathing deeply. The scent of expensive floral soap fills the air. I check my cheap digital watch, 11:03 p.m., exactly 12 minutes until the dean's scheduled donor presentation and update on university achievements. 12 minutes until the fuse I just lit reaches the dynamite. I splash cool water on my face, the shock momentarily steadying my nerves. Reapplying the faintest touch of lipstick in the ornate mirror, I count the seconds. Each tick echoes the pounding in my chest. Anticipation tastes like metal in my mouth. Back in the ballroom, the lights dim slightly. The dean steps up to the podium, tapping the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your generous support tonight. Before we continue with our planned program and hear from our keynote speaker, he announces, his voice amplified through the speakers, I have a rather exciting, unexpected development to share. Our technology department, under the guidance of Professor Davies and Professor Jang, has made an extraordinary discovery thanks to the innovative work of one of our own undergraduate students. A hush falls over the crowd. The large projector screen behind the dean flickers to life. And there it is. Not a slide about donations or campus expansion. It's my algorithm. Lines of elegant code, complex predictive charts, potential market applications outlined clearly. And blazing across the top, in large, bold letters, Project Nightingale, Predictive Financial Modeling Algorithm, Lead Researcher Mei Lin. My name. A sharp gasp cuts through the silence, followed by the distinct sound of shattering glass. I turn. Min stands frozen, her champagne flute lying in pieces at her feet, golden liquid pooling on the expensive rug. Her face is a mask of disbelief, turning an ugly, blotchy red. My father's complexion has gone gray, his hand gripping the back of a nearby chair for support. Elena's perfectly plucked eyebrows are drawn together, her expression pinched with utter confusion, then dawning fury. This groundbreaking work, the dean continues, beaming, oblivious to the personal drama unfolding, has already attracted significant preliminary interest from major industry players. As if on cue, my phone, tucked deep in my purse on silent mode, begins to vibrate continuously. Job offers, interview requests, partnership inquiries, silently flooding my inbox. The temperature in the ballroom seems to drop 10 degrees. The convivial atmosphere evaporates, replaced by stunned silence, then excited murmurs. Min recovers first. Her eyes lock onto mine across the room, filled with venom. Ignoring the spilled champagne, ignoring the stares, she stalks towards me, her designer heels clicking aggressively on the marble floor like stilettos aimed at my heart. "What did you do?" she hisses, her voice low and dangerous as she reaches me, grabbing my arm in a painful grip. Her cloying perfume, usually wielded as a weapon of allure, now feels suffocating, laced with panic. Below the podium, out of Min's line of sight, I see Professor Davies subtly pass the USB drive, the one I dropped, to Dr. Evans, the notoriously stern chair of the Academic Ethics Committee. The drive doesn't just contain my algorithm. It contains dated drafts of Min's allegedly original essays from previous years, bearing striking digital watermarks tracing back to files originally created on my old laptop. Files I thought were lost forever after she helped me transfer data once. Files I recovered using advanced data retrieval software just last week. Checkmate. Min practically drags me out of the ballroom into the relative quiet of the adjacent hallway. Her grip on my wrist is bruising. "You need to fix this," she demands, her voice cracking, losing its usual sharp edge. Beads of sweat glisten on her forehead just above her perfectly contoured cheekbones. "Go back in there. Tell the dean there's been a mistake, that the project was a collaboration, that I helped." Behind her, through the ornate double doors of the ballroom, I hear a fresh wave of applause. The dean must be continuing the presentation, highlighting my achievements. The networking opportunity Min spent months cultivating, schmoozing donors, angling for introductions. It's happening without her. She's out here panicking while her moment evaporates. "Actually," I say, my voice deliberately casual, detached, as I gently try to pull my wrist free. "I think you might need to fix something. Professor Davies mentioned the ethics committee might have some questions for you about some of your previous submissions." I let the words hang in the air. "Apparently, some of your essays bear a rather striking resemblance to early drafts found on my old laptop. The one you borrowed last year?" Her eyes widen, pupils dilating in the dim hallway light. Fear replaces the anger, raw, naked fear. The carefully constructed facade crumbles. She understands. Her academic career, her place at this prestigious university built on lies and plagiarism, is about to implode. "No," she whispers, her grip tightening desperately. "No, May, I can explain that. It was a misunderstanding. Please, what do you want? Money? I'll give you my allowance, all of it. Just make this go away." The sheer desperation in her voice, the way her carefully crafted composure shatters, it's almost intoxicating. A dark, satisfying melody I've waited 10 years across 2 lifetimes to hear. Over her shoulder, through the ballroom doors, I catch a glimpse of my father. He's stepped away from the crowd, phone pressed to his ear, his face growing darker with every passing second. He runs a hand through his thinning hair, loosening his tie, his expression one of dawning horror. He's starting to understand too. The ground is shifting beneath their feet. Just then, my phone vibrates in my purse. Not the continuous buzzing of job offers this time, but a single, distinct pulse. A message. From an unknown number. I pull it out discreetly. Message. "Impressive algorithm, Miss Lin. Very impressive display tonight. But don't you want to know who really caused your mother's accident all those years ago? Meet me tomorrow, 4 p.m., Central Park Bench 27. My blood runs cold. My mother's accident? What does the algorithm have to do with that? Who is this?" Rain lashes against the tall, arched windows of the university library, blurring the Gothic architecture outside. The air inside smells of old paper, wood polish, and damp wool coats. Across the imposing oak desk, the financial aid officer shifts uncomfortably, her fingers drumming a nervous rhythm on a manila folder. Papers rustle beneath her hand. "Miss Lin," she begins, her voice low, hesitant, avoiding my eyes. "I'm afraid there's been a complication with your scholarship." My heart sinks, even though I half expected something like this. Retaliation. A complication, I echo, keeping my voice carefully neutral. Yes. She pushes the folder across the desk towards me. The review committee received evidence, allegations of, well, inappropriate conduct, behavior unbecoming of a scholarship recipient. I open the folder. Inside are printouts. Grainy photos, clearly doctored, showing me in compromising situations I've never been in. Drinking heavily at parties I didn't attend, sneaking into male dorms. There are also fabricated text message exchanges, crude and suggestive, supposedly between me and a married professor. It's clumsy work, but potentially damaging. I recognize the style instantly. Elena's handiwork. This is exactly how she operated in my first life. Subtle slander, anonymous tips, forged evidence to sabotage job interviews, ruin references, isolate me. Always making it look like I was the unstable one, the architect of my own failures. My hands tremble as I pick up the forged photos, playing the part of the shocked, devastated victim. The scent of old books and rain feels suddenly suffocating. But this isn't real, I whisper, my voice catching appropriately. Where did this come from? The officer just shakes her head, offering a sympathetic but ultimately unhelpful shrug. The source was anonymous, but the committee felt they had to act. I'm so sorry, May. Your scholarship has been revoked, effective immediately. While she looks down, shuffling other papers, my hand drifts to my wrist. I adjust the strap of my watch, angling the tiny, almost invisible lens embedded in its face. Click, click, click. Micro camera captures every doctored photo, every fabricated text, every official document in the folder. More evidence for my collection. Elena thinks she's cut off my funding, pushed me closer to the edge. She doesn't realize she's just handed me the rope to hang her with. Dinner that evening is tense. Outside, a thunderstorm rages, lightning momentarily illuminating the dining room, casting long, dancing shadows. The air crackles with unspoken accusations. I push the untouched roast chicken around my plate, then look up, meeting Elena's watchful gaze, my father's stern frown, Min's wary silence. She's been unusually quiet since the gala, clearly shaken by the near exposure of her plagiarism, even though the ethics committee hasn't formally acted yet. I went to the financial aid office today, I begin, letting my voice crack, summoning tears to my eyes. The storm outside provides convenient dramatic emphasis. My scholarship? It's gone. I sniff, wiping my eyes with the back of my hand. They said they got some pictures, things I didn't do. Elena reaches across the table, patting my hand with her cold, smooth fingers. Oh, May, you see? This university environment, perhaps it's just too much pressure, too many temptations. Her voice oozes false sympathy. My father nods gravely. Maybe it's for the best. Time to reassess. I understand, I say, my voice thick with manufactured despair. Lightning flashes again, reflecting in the tear that escapes and traces a path down my cheek. I've been a disappointment. I see that now. I take a shaky breath. I'll withdraw from the university. As you suggested, Elena, I'll look into that technical certificate program. A collective sigh of relief seems to fill the room, almost louder than the thunder outside. My father's shoulders relax. Elena gives my hand a final condescending pat, a gleam of triumph in her eyes. Min even manages a small, relieved smile, the tension draining from her face. The threat to her academic standing seems averted if I simply disappear. They think they've won. They think the problem is solved. They see me surrendering, broken, perfect. As Elena launches into a cheerful description of the bright future awaiting medical billers, my phone, lying screen down on my lap beneath the heavy linen napkin, silently transmits the entire conversation. My feigned surrender, their relieved acceptance, directly to Mr. Way. Phase 3 of our counterplan, discussed earlier that day, is now in motion, synchronized with the storm raging both outside and within me. The next morning dawns bright and clear, sunlight sparkling on rain-washed campus pathways. I'm in my dorm room, slowly packing clothes into cardboard boxes. My roommate watches with a mixture of pity and awkwardness. She heard the rumors, saw the fake pictures circulating online. Elena's work, no doubt, amplifying the official reasons for my departure. My phone rings, startling both of us. Not my father, not Elena. The caller ID displays University President's Office. My heart gives a hopeful leap. Hello? Miss Maylin, this is Beatrice from President Thorne's office. The president requests your presence for an urgent meeting as soon as possible. He's convening representatives from financial aid, the ethics committee, and the technology department. I'll be right there, I stammer, grabbing my pre-packed leather portfolio. This is it. The polished marble floors of the administration building reflect the harsh, fluorescent lights overhead. I'm expecting a small office, perhaps a final disciplinary lecture before being formally expelled. Instead, Beatrice ushers me into the main university boardroom. It's large, imposing, dominated by a long, gleaming table. Seated around it are President Thorne himself, the flustered financial aid officer from yesterday, the stern Dr. Evans from the ethics committee, Professor Davies, and Professor Zhang from technology, and Mr. Wei from Horizon Investments. A wave of dizziness washes over me. This is bigger than I anticipated. I take my place at the empty chair indicated by the president, placing my leather portfolio gently on the table in front of me. It contains printouts of Elena's fabricated evidence, time-stamped digital proof of Min's plagiarism recovered from my old hard drive, a sworn affidavit from Mr. Wei confirming the date I first submitted my algorithm proposal to Horizon Investments, predating Jen's internship application by months, and the incriminating recording from last night's dinner. The room smells faintly of lemon polish and expensive coffee. Opportunity. The meeting lasts 3 intense hours. I present my evidence calmly, factually. Professor Zhang confirms the originality and timeline of my algorithm development. Mr. Wei details Horizon's interest and confirms the algorithm's potential, subtly mentioning the negative implications if the university were seen to be mistreating a student developer with such valuable intellectual property. The financial aid officer looks increasingly pale as the evidence of fabrication mounts. Dr. Evans examines the plagiarism proof with grim satisfaction. Throughout the meeting, my phone, placed face down on the table, vibrates relentlessly. Frantic texts and missed calls flashing across the locked screen. Min, May, pick up. What's going on? People are asking questions. Elena, I hear rumors. What did you tell them? Stop whatever you're doing right now, or I swear I will ensure you never work anywhere decent in this city again. Even my father. May, call me immediately. The dean just called me about an emergency ethics review. I ignore them all. Elena's familiar threat, once terrifying, now feels pathetic. I meet President Thorne's gaze across the table and offer a small, determined smile. Finally, Dr. Evans clears her throat. The ethics committee finds compelling evidence of academic dishonesty in the case of student Min Chen. We will proceed with a formal hearing. Furthermore, she glances at the financial aid officer. The evidence presented regarding the allegations against Miss Lin appears to be fabricated. We recommend immediate dismissal of those claims. President Thorne nods curtly. Agreed. Miss Lin, your scholarship will be immediately reinstated with full honor standing. Furthermore, he glances towards Mr. Wei, Horizon Investments has generously offered to establish a substantial research grant in your name to support further development of your algorithm here at the university. Relief washes through me, so potent it leaves me lightheaded. Justice. Outside the tall boardroom window, I see my father's car screech to a halt in a clearly marked no parking zone below. He jumps out, slams the door, his face visible even from this distance, contorted with rage and disbelief. President Thorne stands, extending his hand across the table to shake mine. His expensive cologne sandalwood and something else, something powerful, fills my senses. Victory. But as I step out of the administration building, blinking in the bright sunlight, feeling the weight lift from my shoulders, I find Jen waiting for me by the main entrance. Her usual bubbly demeanor is gone, replaced by an expression of fear and confusion. She looks pale, shaken. May, we need to talk, she says, her voice trembling slightly. She holds up her phone, angling the screen towards me. It displays emails, Official-looking emails sent from an account that looks like mine but isn't. Emails detailing complex, illegal financial maneuvers, insider trading schemes, money laundering proposals, referencing confidential Horizon Investments data. Data I shouldn't have access to. Data she might soon have access to as an intern. These these aren't from you, are they? Jen asks, her eyes wide with panic. Because because the SEC just called me. They want to question me about your activities, about these emails. My blood freezes. Someone is trying to frame me, and they're using Jen to do it. Central Park, bench 27, exactly 4 p.m. The late afternoon sun filters through the leaves of the large maple tree overhead, creating shifting patterns of light and shadow on the weathered wooden slats. The air is mild, carrying the distant sounds of city traffic and children laughing in a nearby playground. Mr. Wei arrives precisely on time, but he isn't alone. Beside him walks an elderly woman, leaning lightly on his arm. She's small, elegantly dressed in a simple silk pantsuit, her white hair styled immaculately. But it's her eyes that make my heart stop dead in my chest. Sharp, intelligent, and hauntingly familiar. Eyes I've only ever seen in faded photographs. My mother's eyes. "You look just like her," the woman says as they reach the bench. Her voice is soft, slightly fragile with age, yet carrying an undeniable undercurrent of strength. Emotion thickens her words. "Just like my Liling." My mother's given name, a name I rarely heard spoken. The world tilts. Mr. Wei gently helps her sit down, then steps back discreetly. "This woman, she can't be—" "I was told my grandmother died years ago, before my mother." A sad smile touches her lips. "Your father and his wife preferred that narrative. It made things simpler for them." She reaches out, her hand surprisingly warm, paper-thin skin covering delicate bones, and takes mine. A gentle scent of jasmine perfume drifts from her wrist. "My name is Anmei Lin. I am your mother's mother, and I have been watching over you, May, from afar for a very long time." Lightning crashes through my carefully constructed reality. My grandmother, alive, here, watching me? The implications are staggering. "Mr. Wei's firm," she continues, her grip surprisingly firm, "Horizon Investments. It operates under the umbrella of my company. I funded his work, tasked him with keeping an eye on things after your mother passed and your father remarried so quickly. And yes, with monitoring your family's rather creative financial dealings." She gestures towards Mr. Wei, who quietly opens a sleek laptop he's carrying. On the screen, rows of numbers, account statements, transaction histories. Millions. Assets, properties, investments. "Your mother, Liling, left everything directly to you in a trust," Anmei explains softly, her eyes holding mine. "Contingent on you reaching the age of 18 or completing university. Your father was merely the custodian, with very strict limitations. He had absolutely no legal right to withhold your inheritance, let alone claim it was dependent on your academic performance or his approval." The birds chirping in the maple tree suddenly sound incredibly loud. The dappled sunlight feels unreal. My inheritance. Not a modest sum managed by my father, but millions. And this woman, my grandmother, knew all along. Had been watching, waiting. The world hasn't just shifted, it's expanded beyond anything I could have imagined. The penthouse office is breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city skyline, glittering under the afternoon sun. Polished chrome, dark wood, minimalist art. An aura of immense wealth and power. On the far wall, behind an enormous glass desk, hangs a simple, elegant logo, a stylized lotus flower with the words Lin Global beneath it. My grandmother, Anmei, gestures towards the imposing leather chair behind the desk. "Your mother sat there briefly. She was learning the ropes, preparing to take over before she met your father, and decided she wanted a different life in America." She sighs softly, the sound lost in the vastness of the room. "Now it's yours, May, if you want it." Scattered across the glass side tables are not magazines, but thick financial reports, market analyses, global investment summaries. Lin Global. I'd heard the name whispered in financial circles in my first life, always associated with immense influence, old money, Asian markets. I never dreamed my mother heir to this, one of Asia's largest, most respected private investment firms. I sink into the offered chair. The expensive leather creaks softly beneath my weight. It feels impossibly large, swallowing me whole. On a discrete monitor built into the wall, security footage plays silently. Split screens showing the exterior of my father's house, the entrance to his office building, even men walking across campus. My grandmother had maintained surveillance for years, documenting every argument, every manipulation, every injustice Elena and my father inflicted. "We have everything," Anmei says, her voice hardening slightly as she pours tea from a delicate antique porcelain set. The rich aroma of premium oolong tea fills the air. Financial records, surveillance logs, witness testimonies from former staff your father fired suspiciously. Enough to ruin them legally, strip them bare. Take back every cent they misappropriated from you from your mother's legacy. She places a fragile cup before me. But how we proceed? That choice belongs to you, May. I interfered once by sending Mr. Wei to guide you towards your potential with the algorithm. Now, justice must be served according to your will. The next day, the Lin Global boardroom feels formal, almost sterile compared to the penthouse. Sunlight streams through electronically controlled blinds, creating precise stripes of light across the long, polished table. A team of sharp-suited corporate attorneys speaks in calm, measured tones, outlining the situation and my options. My father's company, Chen and Associates Consulting, hasn't been truly profitable for years. It's been kept afloat by a series of increasingly desperate illegal financial maneuvers, cooking the books, hiding losses, securing loans based on fraudulent collateral. And, ironically, through several large, anonymous investments made over the past decade. Investments channeled discreetly from Lin Global, orchestrated by An Mai to keep the company solvent just long enough, perhaps, for me to come of age. With a single signature on the documents laid out before me, I can recall those investments. Trigger an immediate audit, initiate insolvency proceedings. The company would collapse within weeks. My phone, sitting silently on the table beside the documents, displays a stream of increasingly panicked messages from my father and Elena. News travels fast in their circles. Rumors of my connection to Lin Global, of my grandmother's identity, must be spreading like wildfire. The air smells of expensive leather portfolios and the faint, sharp scent of the lead attorney's cologne. Mr. Wei steps forward, placing one final file on the table. "There's more, Miss Lin," he says quietly. "We've completed tracing the funds Elena Chen moved offshore." He opens the file. Bank statements, transfer confirmations, shell company registrations. Clear, irrefutable evidence that Elena has been systematically embezzling funds, not just from my father's failing company, but directly from my mother's inheritance trust for years. Funneling my money into secret accounts. Accounts that Lin Global's security team, with their considerable resources, have now located and gained control over. Elena's escape plan is now my asset. "You need to come home, May, immediately." My father's voice on the phone is unrecognizable. Gone is the usual dismissive arrogance. It's replaced by a strained, high-pitched tone, a volatile cocktail of anger, confusion, and raw fear I've never heard from him before. "We need to talk about everything." I stand in the plush suite at the Mandarin Oriental, a suite Anmei arranged, the city lights twinkling below like scattered diamonds. The luxury feels surreal, a world away from my cramped dorm room or the cold house I grew up in. "All right, Dad," I say calmly into the phone. "I'll meet you, tonight, at the house." The next few hours are a blur of quiet, efficient activity orchestrated by Mr. Wei and my grandmother's formidable team. Documents are couriered, encrypted communication lines established, discreet security personnel briefed and positioned. Recording devices, far more sophisticated than my phone app, are prepared. There's a soft knock on my suite door. It's Jen. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her face streaked with tears and running mascara. She practically falls into my arms. "May, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do." Between choked sobs, the story spills out. Elena had approached her after the gala incident, preying on Jen's ambition and insecurity. She'd promised Jen career advancement, glowing recommendations, access to influential contacts, if Jen agreed to help manage me. That included planting the fake emails designed to frame me for financial crimes, using details about Horizon investments gleaned from Jen's own internship preparations. Elena planned to use the fake SEC investigation to discredit me completely, perhaps even pressure me into signing away legal rights. She pressured me, Jen cries. Said it was the only way to salvage things after your algorithm stunt embarrassed the family. She told me. She told me they're planning something for tonight. When you go to the house, they want you to sign papers. Elena has them all ready. Something about relinquishing claims. I don't know, I shouldn't have listened. I was scared. I hold her, letting her cry. I feel a pang of genuine sympathy, not anger. I remember how easily Elena manipulated me in my first life, how effectively she used fear and false promises. It's okay, Jen, I say softly, meaning it. She manipulated you, just like she manipulated everyone. Forgiveness, I realize, isn't just for them. It's for freeing myself. As Jen leaves, shaken but relieved, the late afternoon sun streams into the suite, bathing everything in a warm, golden light. I stand before the mirror, not in the cheap clothes I usually wear, the uniform of my victimhood. Tonight, I wear power. A perfectly tailored dark gray Armani pantsuit, a crisp white silk blouse. Understated elegance. Confidence woven into the fabric. In my pocket sits a small, heavy cardstock rectangle. My new business card, May Lin, Chief Executive Officer, Lin Global Investments. Downstairs, my grandmother's chauffeur waits beside a gleaming black Mercedes. As we pull smoothly away from the hotel and head towards the suburbs, towards the house that was never a home, my secure phone pings with an urgent, high-priority alert from Mr. Wei's tech team. Asterisk alert, unauthorized access attempt detected on accounts ending. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk 3487, May Lin Primary. Location, IP address 73.15.hexxx.hexxx. Traced to Chen residence Wi-Fi network. Action, attempt to drain all funds via wire transfer. Time, 17:18 EST, 6 minutes ago. Status, access blocked, honeypot activated, keystroke logger active. My father. Trying to empty the meager bank accounts I still held under my own name, the ones he knew about. A final desperate grab before the confrontation. The digital trap I'd set weeks ago, anticipating just such a move, worked perfectly. They have no idea how thoroughly I planned for this. No idea the scale of the power arrayed against them. They think they're luring the wounded lamb home for the slaughter. They don't realize the dragon is coming. The air in the family living room hangs thick and still, heavy with unspoken tension. Crystal decanters on the mahogany sideboard catch the muted evening light filtering through the drawn curtains, casting distorted reflections. My father stands stiffly by the fireplace. Elena perches on the edge of the floral sofa, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Min hovers near the armchair, nervously shredding a tissue into tiny pieces. They've arranged themselves like actors on a stage, ready for the final act. Their expressions are carefully composed masks of worry and concern. May, darling, we've been so worried sick about you, Elena exclaims, rising quickly, arms outstretched for an embrace. Her voice is pitched slightly too high, a false note in the strained silence. The cloying scent of her signature perfume hits me, but tonight it's undercut with something else. The faint, sharp tang of nervous sweat. I sidestep her advance smoothly, letting her arms fall awkwardly. Hello, Elena, father, Min. My voice is calm, level. I don't sit down. My father clears his throat, gesturing towards the low coffee table. Sit down, May. We need to discuss what happens next. Put all this unpleasantness behind us. On the table, several official-looking documents are spread out, pens strategically placed beside them. Transfer agreements, waivers of liability, guardianship forms, granting him control over assets. All pre-filled with my name. They didn't even wait to hear what I had to say. The grandfather clock in the corner ticks loudly, marking the seconds. Min keeps shredding the tissue, her gaze fixed on the carpet. Through the large bay window behind my father, I catch a flicker of movement in the deepening twilight. One of Anmei's discreet security team, taking position near the garden hedge. They are close. Before we discuss those papers, I say, my voice cutting through the false calm, perhaps we should discuss something more immediate. I place my own leather portfolio on the table, next to their carefully prepared documents. Let's talk about the unauthorized attempt to access and drain my personal bank accounts that originated from this house's IP address today. Specifically, at 5:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Silence slams down like a physical force. Elena's practiced smile freezes, then melts away. My father's face flushes a dark mottled red. Min flinches as if struck. I I don't know what you're talking about, my father sputters, his bluster sounding hollow. He reaches instinctively for his phone on the end table. Frowns. No signal. Cell phone jammers, courtesy of Mr. Way's team, blankets the house and immediate vicinity. They are cut off. Outside, darkness has fully descended. The warm glow from the living room lamp suddenly feels harsh, interrogative, throwing their stricken faces into sharp relief. The familiar, comfortable room transforms into an interrogation chamber. The family photos arranged on the mantelpiece, vacations, holidays, celebrations I was rarely part of, seem to watch, silent judges. I open my portfolio and begin laying out documents, one by one, onto the coffee table. Bank records detailing the systematic theft of my inheritance. Screenshots proving Min's plagiarism, complete with digital timestamps. Printouts tracing Elena's embezzled funds to the offshore accounts now frozen. Financial analyses revealing the depth of my father's corporate fraud, the precariousness of his company. This is absurd. Lies. Fabrications. My father bellows, trying to regain control, but his voice trembles. Is it? I ask quietly. I place my business card on top of the damning pile. Mei Lin, CEO, Lin Global Investments. Lin Global, I continue, my voice steady, now holds controlling interest in Chen and Associates Consulting, following the acquisition of its major debt portfolios and key investment stakes. An audit is pending. Recognition finally dawns in my father's eyes. Horror replaces anger as he makes the connection. Lin, his late wife's family name, the distant, powerful Asian conglomerate he thought was safely out of reach, uninterested in his small domestic dramas. The empire he married into, then betrayed. He sinks heavily onto the sofa, speechless. May, please, Elena whispers, her mask of maternal concern completely gone, revealing the sharp, calculating woman beneath. Her voice is low, urgent. We can fix this. We can make it right, whatever you want. Your old room back? We'll redecorate. Full tuition, anywhere you want to go, Harvard, Yale? Her eyes dart nervously towards the pile of evidence detailing her embezzlement. Min suddenly drops to her knees on the expensive Persian rug, her designer dress pooling around her. She grabs my hands, her own cold and clammy. Tears stream down her face, smearing her perfect makeup. May, I'm so sorry. I was jealous. I was always so jealous of you. She sobs, the confession ripped from her. You were always smarter, even when you tried to hide it. Dad always looked at you differently when you were little, before Mom died. Proud. I just wanted him to look at me like that. I just wanted... Her voice trails off into incoherent sobs. My father finds his voice again, trying a different tactic. Threats first. You do this, May, and I'll fight you with everything I have. Lawyers, the press. I'll drag the Lin name through the mud. Then, abruptly shifting to pleading, think of family, May. Your mother wouldn't want this. Have mercy. We made mistakes, yes, but we're still your family. Rain begins to patter against the window panes, a soft, rhythmic counterpoint to their desperate, chaotic pleas. Offers, threats, tears, justifications, blame. It all washes over me. The familiar living room feels like a stage set for a Greek tragedy, the final act playing out. But the script has changed. The victim holds all the power now. I wait until their words finally trail off, until only Min's quiet sobbing and the drumming rain fill the silence. Then I speak. No. The single syllable hangs in the air, simple, absolute, surprisingly powerful. I don't want your money, Elena. I don't want apologies born of fear, Min. And I don't want revenge, Father. I look each of them in the eye. I want justice, and I want peace. I outline my terms. No public prosecution for Elena's embezzlement, or father's fraud. If they sign agreements relinquishing all control of Chen and Associates to Lin Global, transfer specified assets, including this house, back to my mother's estate, now managed by me, and agree to legally binding non-disclosure and no-contact clauses. They will be left with a modest, fixed income enough to live comfortably, but far from their accustomed luxury. Min will face the university's ethics committee and accept her academic consequences, likely suspension and repeating courses, delaying her graduation significantly but not destroying her future entirely, provided she demonstrates genuine remorse and effort. They will disappear quietly from my life. Those are the terms. Accept them, or Lin Global's legal team will proceed with full criminal and civil actions tomorrow morning. The rain outside intensifies, droplets racing down the dark window panes like tears. I stand up, gathering my portfolio, leaving their worthless papers untouched on the table. My business card remains, a stark white rectangle against the dark wood. "You'll regret this, May," my father says, his voice low, venomous. One last desperate attempt at control, at intimidation. The familiar threat, the one that controlled me for so long in my previous life, means nothing now. It rolls off me like the rain off the windows. I walk toward the front door, the clicks of my heels loud in the stunned silence. I pause, my hand on the cool brass doorknob, and look back one last time. 3 shocked faces, frozen in a tableau of disbelief and dawning despair, illuminated by the warm, deceptive glow of the living room lamps. The comfortable home that was never mine, now finally exorcised. Just as my fingers tighten on the knob, Min's voice calls out, sharp, desperate. "Wait, she told me to do it. Elena! She told me if I ruined your confidence, if I made you seem like a failure, there would be more money left for me when the inheritance finally came through. She promised me." My father's sharp intake of breath is audible even across the room. His head snaps towards Elena, his eyes wide with a new dawning horror. That, apparently, was one betrayal he hadn't known about. One manipulation too far, even for him, the final crack in their corrupt facade. I don't wait to see the fallout. I open the door and step out into the rain-washed night, leaving the wreckage behind me. Sunlight, warm and brilliant, streams down across the sprawling university quadrangle. Rows upon rows of white chairs stretch far beyond their usual boundaries, spilling out onto the adjacent streets, which have been closed to traffic. The scale of the crowd is unprecedented for a graduation ceremony. Tech industry titans, investment bankers from Wall Street, reporters with cameras flashing, mixed in with proud parents and cheering students. My graduation. I stand on the elevated stage, the heavy silk of the graduation gown feeling surprisingly light against my skin. It's a double degree, business administration and computer science, both with highest honors. The applause thunders, echoing off the old stone buildings as the dean announces my name. He speaks not just of academic achievement, but of the Nightingale algorithm and its impact, how it's already revolutionizing ethical investment practices globally. He mentions the new Center for Ethical Finance and Technology being established here at the university, funded by a multi-million-dollar grant from the Lin Global Foundation. My foundation. Using proceeds generated by the algorithm itself and additional funds from my grandmother to create scholarships specifically for disadvantaged students like the girl I used to be. The weight I feel today isn't the burden of past traumas, but the welcome responsibility of the future. As the applause washes over me, my gaze drifts to the edge of the massive crowd. There, standing partially obscured by an old oak tree, is a familiar figure. Min, dressed in simple jeans and a t-shirt, her hair pulled back plainly. She looks subdued, different. I learned through Jen, who successfully completed her Horizon internship and is now a trusted junior analyst at Lin Global, that Min accepted her suspension, confessed fully to the ethics committee, and is now working part-time at a local coffee shop while retaking core courses at a community college. Our eyes meet across the distance. She gives a small, almost imperceptible nod. Not of subservience, but something quieter. Maybe respect. Maybe just acceptance. The scent of freshly cut grass and the sweet perfume of blooming linden trees drifts on the warm summer breeze. I step forward, shake the dean's hand, accept the heavy diploma covers, and move my tassel from the right side to the left. One chapter closes, definitively. Another begins. The Lin Global headquarters doesn't feel intimidating anymore. It feels like potential. The floor-to-ceiling windows still showcase the glittering city skyline, but now the view includes the neighborhood where, in another lifetime, I scrubbed floors and emptied trash bins for minimum wage, dreaming of an escape I never thought possible. Energy hums through the offices, quiet, focused, purposeful. In the main boardroom, my grandmother's portrait now hangs beside a newly commissioned one of my mother. We've just finished a quarterly review meeting. Anne May smiles, her eyes crinkling at the corners as she sips her jasmine tea. Afternoon light catches the steam rising from the delicate porcelain cup, held steady in her surprisingly strong, age-spotted hands. "Your mother would be so proud, May," she says softly, "not just of the success, but of the way you are achieving it." The reports spread across the polished table confirm it. Our new ethical investment initiative, spearheaded by me using principles derived from the Nightingale algorithm combined with Anmei's decades of experience, is consistently outperforming traditional, purely profit-driven models. We're proving that doing good and doing well aren't mutually exclusive. The office smells of success, leather-bound portfolios, the faint scent of the fresh orchids delivered daily by attentive staff, the underlying ozone tang of technology driving global finance. On my desk, beside the photos of An Mei and my fiancé, sits a small digital clock. It's counting down the hours to the virtual launch of our newest venture, the Empower Her Finance Foundation. Its mission is to provide practical financial literacy education and microloans to women in underserved communities like the one I found myself trapped in during my previous life. My grandmother's quiet wisdom, her vast network, and her unwavering belief in me amplified the fragmented knowledge I carried from the future, transforming it from a tool for personal revenge into something much larger, much more meaningful. A legacy. One that honors my mother, and hopefully helps others rewrite their own stories. Waves crash against black volcanic rock, sending plumes of white spray into the impossibly blue Hawaiian sky. I sit cross-legged on a simple woven mat on the lanai of my rented beachside cabin, meditating. The air smells of salt, plumeria flowers, and damp earth. This is month 6 of a year-long sabbatical An Mei insisted I take after the whirlwind of the past few years. A journey not just across continents, visiting sacred sites and natural wonders, but also inwards. My journal lies open beside me. Its pages aren't filled with strategic plans or market analyses anymore. They hold reflections, sketches, passages copied from books on mindfulness and philosophy, notes on forgiveness, not for their sake, my father, Elena, even Min, but for mine. Releasing the bitterness, the anger, the need for validation that drove me for so long. Occasional brief updates filter through from Mr. Wei or Jen. My father is living quietly in a small rented apartment, his health reportedly declining. Elena teaches etiquette classes at a suburban community center, clinging to the vestiges of her former social standing. Min is slowly, diligently working her way back through her undergraduate degree, apparently showing genuine aptitude now that she's relying on her own efforts. Their lives continue, diminished but not destroyed. Their fates are no longer tied to mine. The spiritual teachers I've sought out, monks in Thailand, yogis in India, healers in Peru, have helped me understand the true gift of my rebirth. It wasn't just a second chance at success or revenge. It was a second chance at healing, at choosing a different response to pain. The cool salt spray mists my sun-warmed skin. I breathe deeply, matching my rhythm to the ocean's surge and retreat. With each exhale, I consciously release the lingering ghosts of old wounds, the phantom ache of betrayals past. The cabin behind me is simple, containing only essentials. A deliberate contrast to the complexities of Lin Global, grounding me in what truly matters beyond wealth and power. Tomorrow I fly to Kyoto, but today belongs to the ocean, the sun, and the quiet work of forgiving myself for the time I lost. Cherry blossoms drift like pale pink snow on the gentle spring breeze, blanketing the meticulously kept gardens of the Lin ancestral estate outside Kyoto. Laughter mingles with the elegant strains of a string quartet playing Mozart. We're hosting a garden party, a celebration for An Mei's 90th birthday, and also, informally, for my recent engagement. My chosen family surrounds us, Not the fractured, toxic unit I was born into, but the one I consciously built. Anne May, radiant and sharp as ever. My fiancé, Mark, a kind, steady architect who met May Lin, the CEO, but fell in love with May, the woman, supporting me through the final stages of my emotional unpacking. Jen, now a rising star at Lin Global, laughing with Mr. Wei, who has become a trusted mentor and friend. Colleagues who share my vision. And most joyfully, newly discovered relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles from my mother's side of the family, tracked down by Anmai's genealogists, welcoming me into the fold with open arms. Small children, my second cousins once removed, chase butterflies across the manicured lawns, their joyous shrieks echoing through the serene landscape. The catering tables overflow with an exquisite fusion of East and West cuisines, reflecting our blended heritage. The air smells sweet of blossoms, matcha tea, and delicate pastries. Anmei watches me circulate among our guests, talking, laughing, occasionally pausing to help a small child retrieve a wayward ball. Her eyes mist slightly, not with sadness, but with quiet contentment. Her legacy isn't just Lin Global, it's this: family renewed, connection rebuilt, life flourishing. Later, I pause by the large ornamental koi pond, watching the vibrant fish swim languidly beneath the lily pads. I catch my reflection on the water's still surface. The woman looking back is calm, confident, her eyes clear. There are still faint shadows, reminders of the past, but they no longer define her. She is not the broken girl scrubbing toilets. She is not the vengeful ghost returned. She is Mei Lin, survivor, CEO, fiancée, granddaughter, friend. A woman who traveled through death and back, not just to reclaim a stolen life, but to build a better one. Piece by painful, beautiful piece. The future stretches before me, no longer a terrifying abyss or a predetermined path, but an open horizon. Unburdened, bright, and entirely my own.